Right now, I want to talk about Sean Hannity being a dick because conservative Twitter has been in an all-out war with Kathy Barnette in Pennsylvania because, of course, Sean Hannity, Rick Grinnell, Greg Kelly, I don't even know, Trump himself have come out basically saying, don't vote for Kathy. She can't win. Don't vote for Kathy. And the MAGA base has been like, F you guys, we're voting for Kathy. But this thread I saw from Sean Hannity was just particularly douchey because Sean Hannity did a complete and total hit piece on Kathy Barnette on his show, and then he basically dared Kathy Barnette to come on his show and refute him. And then Kathy Barnette was like, "Okay, Sean, I'm ready to come on your show." And look at Sean Hannity's elitist, douchey response to Kathy Barnette. He did a whole thread. Look at this. Kathy, as you know, my staff, I'm going to do it with my pinky out. As you know, my staff has reached out to you repeatedly in the last 48 hours. It's great to finally get a response from you. Why have you been ignoring their calls and texts? Kathy, you denied to my staff memory of the many controversial tweets on your feed. Are you claiming your account was hacked? Kathy, as far as a one-on-one with Dr. Oz, that proposal is actually not fair and balanced to either candidate in the race the day before the election. I must also add that logistically for us, I should do this pinky. Hang on. Am I in the shot? Yes, we'll do this pinky because I have to control my mouse with the other one. I must also add that logistically for us to do a televised debate with all the candidates would be impossible for us to pull off in 3.5 days. Such events often take months or weeks of planning at a minimum. Thankfully, I might have a way to have a debate on Monday. I'm off tomorrow on my radio show, which now airs on 675 stations around the country if the other candidates agree to participate. In the meantime, I have a lot of questions for you. Would you like me to ask them here on Twitter, or would you prefer to talk to my staff that you have been ignoring? What a douche. What a douche. I'm sorry, conservatives. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but Sean Hannity thinks that he is better than all of you. He thinks that he is better than all of you. If he is willing to talk down to a political candidate for Senate, the woman who very realistically could win the GOP nomination for Senate in Pennsylvania, if he's willing to do that to someone running for Senate in his own fucking party, don't you think that he would do that to any one of you? I mean, come on, dude. Come on. It has actually been like Greg Kelly from Newsmax is still going off to this day. It is fascinating to watch the entire, and even, dude, even the New York Post did an entire hit piece on Kathy Barnette. The fucking New York Post. And it's gotten so bad that CNN is actually starting to fact check this stuff. And guys, when CNN is right, we have to admit that they're right. And in this case, their fact check of all the bullshit that these conservative establishment hacks have been spewing at Kathy Barnette is actually correct. Fact check. Deceptive ad from Oz allies falsely depict Barnett's position on Black Lives Matter, race, and policing. A super PAC supporting Mehmet Oz, the celebrity surgeon and prominent candidate in Pennsylvania's Republican Senate primary, has released an attack ad that wildly distorts the past remarks and positions of Kathy Barnette, a party rival who is surging in late campaign polls. The super PAC, American Leadership Action, tries to depict the right-wing Barnette, who unsuccessfully ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in 2020, as a crazy advocate of liberal positions. To do so, though, the super PAC misleadingly truncated Barnett's past comments about race and policing and added inaccurate introductions to the shortened clips. The primary takes place on Tuesday. The super PAC did not respond to a request for comment on Friday. Barnett's views on systemic racism among police officers. The ad's narrators suggest viewers are about to hear Barnette speak on the subject of violence. The ad then shows a clip of Barnette, who is black, saying, "Black Americans feel disenfranchised." After a quick cut, the ad shows her saying, "Systemic racism, specifically among police officers." And guess what, guys? Rick Grenell shared this bullshit. Rick Grenell was pushing this as well. And he's doing that on behalf of Trump. You guys have to know that. Facts first. This segment of the ad is deceptive in two ways. First, it completely reverses Barnette's position on systemic racism among police officers. These short clips were snipped from a May 2020 YouTube commentary in which Barnette explicitly rejected the idea that there is systemic racism among police officers. Well, Miss Malevolent, you can literally go and watch the videos. CNN is accurately reporting on this. Go and watch the videos. CNN is accurately doing this. I'm as shocked as you are that CNN is telling the truth, but they are being accurate in this. Your heroes of Sean Hannity, Rick Grenell, and Trump and freaking Newsmax are all lying to you. You can go and watch the videos for yourself. It's not actually that hard. Second, in the same YouTube commentary and in other remarks, Barnette has repeatedly denounced violence, rioting, and looting. Here are Barnette's actual comments about systemic racism and police officers in the YouTube commentary, and we can actually just go and watch the clip. You know what? Let me see how long this is. Can we just watch the clip? Okay, hang on. They've got it right here. We can watch it ourselves. Hang on. I know you can't hear it right now. I'm going to pull it up in another screen so you can see that this is not just CNN telling you what this is. This is actually what this is. I just need a second here to get this up and running. Hang on. Ba-do-do. It is mind-boggling to me that conservatives just like to be lied to this extent, to be honest. Okay, let's listen to what Kathy actually said.
And what our country has to offer us and what we can offer it. Listen, there's a reason why many Black Americans feel disenfranchised in America. And I will never try to minimize the reasons why many of them feel that way.
Hang on, I want to address this. Miss Malevolent, it doesn't matter why they're doing it. What matters is they're telling you the truth. It doesn't matter the motivation. In this case, the reason they are doing this, in this case, it is actually because your influencers are lying to you. This is not even an accident that they're lying to you. They are flat lying to you. Now, is CNN taking advantage of the fact that your influencers are lying to you? Yeah, of course they are. But the fact is, in this case, if you care about the truth, CNN is telling the truth, and Sean Hannity is not telling the truth. He is blatantly lying to you.
And yet, a lot of what we see is manipulation. It's the stoking of the flame of the tensions of the history of this nation.
Miss Malevolent doesn't belong here. Goodbye, Miss Malevolent.
Many are saying today that what we're experiencing, what happened to George Floyd, is systemic racism in our justice system, specifically among police officers. They would have us to believe that there is a police officer like Officer Chauvin, who had his knee on George Floyd's neck, around every street corner, and that everywhere we go, there is a police officer waiting to shoot a Black man. I reject that. And I don't reject it because I feel like that's not true. I reject it because it statistically is not true. According to the 2018 FBI Uniform Criminal Report, 2,704 Black people were killed, homicides. Of the 2,704 Black people who were killed in 2018, 226
yeah, you're probably right,
were
Justin.
shot
Probably
by
right.
police officers. So now that's 3%. So out of all the Black people who were shot in 2018, 3% were shot by a police officer, right? But now, wait, it continues. Out of the 226 who were shot by a police officer, only 18 were unarmed. So now we're not talking about 3% who were shot by a police officer. but only 18 were unarmed. So now we go from 3% to 0.002%. So the number of officers who shoot a Black person who is unarmed is 0.002%. And that number does not take into account those who violently resisted arrest, right? It doesn't take into account those who may not have had a gun, but something else in their hand, right? So do injustices happen?
Well, Quaid just got himself a block because he couldn't handle it being an adult. But the really important thing here is that Kathy Barnette is actually articulating what the conservative position is, and the conservatives are lying about it. They're trying to make her seem like a leftist. They are not telling you the truth, and this should be an eye-opening event, quite frankly, to anyone. Anyone who trusts what the conservative media says, anyone who can trust what the conservative establishment says, they have now called all of that into question because they are flat lying to you about what Kathy Barnette has said purely because they don't want the base to vote for her. It's actually amazing. They've also got Barnett's views on Black Lives Matter and social unrest. The narrators introduces Barnette clip saying, as a comment on Black Lives Matter, the ad then shows Barnette on camera saying the reason for so much unrest in the Black community is because of white racism. The narrator then says in an incredulous tone, white racism? The ad then shows Barnette again saying white racism. The segment of this ad is also deceptive in two ways. First, Barnett's comment about white racism causing unrest in the Black community was not about the Black Lives Matter movement and not even about the present day. The full YouTube video shows that she was paraphrasing findings of a Lyndon B. Johnson presidential commission that looked at the causes of rioting in 1967. And though the ad vaguely hints that Barnette is a supporter of Black Lives Matter, she has actually been a vocal and repeated critic of that, at one point likening it to a bad case of herpes. So, guys, the lesson here is that even if it comes from your favorite pundit, even when it comes from your favorite influencer, you have got to fact check what they're saying. Listen, my process for how I look at news is I do look at news stories, but primarily I look at primary sources. I'm not perfect at this because I'm extremely busy and I don't always have the time to fact check things so I understand the pain there. But when I do have time to fact check things, and when something doesn't pass the sniff test, like a chopped up video that Rick Grinnell was trying to show with lots of jump cuts claiming Kathy Barnette supported Black Lives Matter, anyone can look at that and be like, nah, dude, nah, you're lying, you're smearing. And it's not okay. It's not okay when the left does it, and it shouldn't be okay when the right does it. And you always need to be vigilant about this and question what you know, because we are very literally before our very eyes watching the Republicans and the conservative establishment adopt leftist tactics to smear Kathy Barnette ahead of Election Day, which is Tuesday, right? I believe. Guys, Kathy's got to win. I'm going to be so disappointed if Kathy doesn't win. She has to win. If you are in Pennsylvania, please vote for Kathy. You guys, the MAGA base has got to hand the GOP a loss. You guys have got to stand up to them. You guys have got to say, you do not tell us who to vote for. Because if you don't stand up to them in this instance, if Oz wins, the GOP is going to be pulling this bullshit over and over and over and over and over again. They're going to deliver you up rhinos on a silver platter when you have said for the last 2 years, no more rhinos, primary all rhinos, primary all rhinos. If you guys allow, all the GOP is going to serve up to you are going to be rhinos. Joe, please be brave. Please vote for Kathy. Yes, she has an uphill battle in the general election. That is very, very true. But Kathy Barnette is a fighter. She is a fighter. And at the end of the day, having a rhino represent you is actually worse than having a Democrat represent you. And it's going to be awful. That would be 6 effing years of rhino that you would be complaining about all the time. You guys got to be brave. You've got to vote for Kathy. Incognito says, ours, it's a small club and you're not invited. I mean, the fact that Sean Hannity talk down to her in the way that he did shows you everything you need to know about exactly how they feel about you. And that's the truth, whether you want to hear it or not.